loved it. But now we got to talk about the big one. Because the same person who wrote Mouse Guard wrote Burning Wheel. Burning Wheel. So, you've been in this situation. You go to a gaming con, and you're walking down, and there's that guy. He's sitting at one of those tables. He's got like a bunch of stuff there, and he's trying to get anyone to look at, he fixed D&D. He has a role-playing system he wrote where you roll D30s.
In those days, everyone was like, I got my D&D mod. It's so much better. Everyone should,
Those games pretty much all suck.
Yeah, no one knows what they're doing. These aren't game designers.
You just don't want to make eye contact with that guy. So I was at an UberCon many years ago, and I accidentally made eye contact with that guy. It happened to be Luke Crane, the guy who made Burning Wheel. I sat down, I played this game, and it was amazing. So I go to these guys, I'm like, guys, I found this game.
And somewhat rightfully, we're like, yeah, okay, some guy modded and fixed the D&D, sure, whatever.
No, seriously, this was like point-buy systems and
yeah, you know what? Yeah, no one's gonna play that fucking weird-ass game. It's not any good. We couldn't even get people to play Shadowrun. We're playing D&D.
So I made them come to UberCon the next year, hoping the same guy would be there, and he was. So I drag him up, I'm like, do for me what you did for them. And we had only done combat in that game. We hadn't even done any of the other stuff. So he sits us down, hands us 3 character sheets, asks us to go to the bathroom.
And the character sheets have a ton of shit on them. I think I have some character sheets. I do.
And he holds them up. He's like, who wants to be the fruity elf? I'm like, yo. Who wants to be the bastard?
Look at all the things. It's got a bunch of shit all over it.
Who wants to be the bastard dwarf? Our friend Peter Olsen, the same guy who played Mustafa bin Mustafa.
But, alright, so we each get these character sheets. It's the elf, he's the dwarf, and I'm the stupid human thief, right?
And we're sitting there.
And you look at the character sheet, and there's a whole bunch of crap all over it. You're like, ooh, look at these numbers, ooh. But then you look right here, and there's this big blob of text. It says, beliefs. Let me read for you the beliefs of the dwarf. This sword was a treasure of my clan for generations, stolen by foul Rodan and abandoned here. I'll restore it to its rightful place among my people. Words may be eaten, but blood is forever once spilled. Better a heated exchange than an exchange of blows. My companions and I have seen much hardship together. I'll get them home safely. Oath. My uncle Dvalin is proud but destitute. I will do anything to restore his fortunes.
So I'm reading mine and the dwarf's reading his, and I read the first one. The sword was made by my father. Using its markings, I will demonstrate its origin to my companions. They cannot dispute its ownership. And, belief 2, I must return the lost sword to my father so he will forgive me and allow me to return from my exile. And I look at Pete, who's still reading his sheet, and say, I'm taking that fucking sword. And he's like, that sword was abandoned by the... And Scout jumps in, and we start arguing.
We don't know the rules of this game. All we did was read these beliefs on this sheet and look at each other.
So Pete insults my character. I look down, right under beliefs, it says instincts. Instinct 1, never accept an insult.
So then Luke Crane comes back from the bathroom.
And we notice, and we're like, we're ready to play now.
We're ready to play now. He's like, no, continue. Got it.
Not even the game. The character sheet tricked us into straight-up roleplay.
We hadn't read 1 page of this book, and actually you only need to read 75 pages of this book. Which are free online.
This is the game
pages.
We ran for a whole bunch of people at MagFest last year, and they came back and wanted to play this some more.
Right.
So... there's so much, I can't talk about everything that's great about this game in terms of design and role-playing trickery, but a few mechanics. 1, to level stuff up, you have stats and skills, like strength is a stat. Well, not really strength, but the equivalent of strength. You have skills like carpentry, or ugly truth.
Ugly truth is the most powerful skill in the
persuasion, or stentorious debate, or drinking.
Not as good as ugly truth.
So if I want to level up, say, climbing, I have to get a few routine tests, a few difficult tests, and a few challenging tests. Now here's the deal. With the dice alone, it is impossible to succeed on a challenging test.
Yeah, let's look at the chart. Oh, let's see, a challenging test. Well, you roll 4 dice and you need 6 successes.
How many successes can I get per die?
1.
This is a game where I'll go for it anyway. You basically have to succeed and fail at one thing to level it up. You have to fail to climb a mountain to be able to climb bigger mountains. You have to fail to kill an orc to be able to kill more orcs.
Right. But unlike, say, look at some D&D. If you fail at climbing in D&D, what's the worst that's going to happen? I rolled a climb roll. You fall off and take some D6s of damage from falling, Do you want to try again?
Yeah, I take 10.
Oh, you take 10, you take 20, you're over. Congratulations. Or you just decide not to climb, now you're stuck. What do? I need to get over there. Right? In Burning Wheel, every success and every failure makes something happen. If you fail, something will happen. You break your fucking leg. I failed. We were walking through the woods. My character lost my foot. It happened. One roll. It's like, nope, you failed the health check in the the snowy tundra. You lost your foot. That's it.
So think about that. Imagine D&D where you had to fail and succeed at things in order to level up. And you level up individual things. So the things you're trying at, it kind of mimics
it's like
real stories.
I didn't have to go through the snowy tundra, but the GM's like, hey, you want to go through the snowy tundra? And I'm like, how many fucking dice is it? Oh my god.
I'm the prodigal son of the prince, never ridden a horse, never picked up a sword. In the course of the story, I have to pick up a sword to defend someone. I start leveling up sword. I become a great knight someday. In the context of the game.
Yeah, but only after you get stabbed a bunch.
Doesn't have to be stabbed. It could be other things. Now, let's look at the other mechanics of failure. In D&D, I know a guy, my Aunt Snabash, totally get me into the thing. You have your character sheet, you've written down, like my uncle's Calvin Blackstaff. Doesn't mean anything. In this game, when you make a character, you spend points to say, my uncle is Keldon Blackstaff.
Yeah, you don't write your separate page full of bullshit, right? Everything that's on this sheet counts in the rules, and if it's not on this sheet, it doesn't mean dick.
If you pay to have Keldon Blackstaff be your uncle, he is your uncle. That is the story. That is it.
And if you say, Calvin Blackstaff, I go see him, the GM says, okay, you go see him. Is he on your sheet? Yeah, okay, you go see him. He's there. Hey,
so here's the thing.
Calvin, how's it going?
It costs 15 points to be friends with the king. It costs 14 points for the king to know who you are and hate you.
It costs even less points if you're related to the king. It costs even less points if you had sex with the king.
Now, in terms of that, we're talking about things on the sheet. There's this idea of traits. You might write on your D&D character sheet, I have black hair and almond-shaped blue eyes with gold fleckle.
It doesn't mean dick.
But
or you try to bring that up in the game, and it's like, well, you don't get to roll any dice for that. I want a bonus die for my sparkles. Yeah, no.
My character's Harry. All right, whatever. No one cares. In this game, if you spend a point on Harry, your character is Harry to a notable degree.
Like, if it says Harry on here, that's Harry. Right?
You can get advantage
Harry to
dice
the
for
point
that.
at which you could theoretically roll dice because of your hairiness. If there's, like, if you wanted to do a costume check to disguise yourself as a gorilla, you would get an extra die. But only if it actually says Harry on there.
So everything in the game, there's a real mechanic behind it. Here's the final thing. If I want to fight with Scott, we roll a whole bunch of dice and someone comes away with, like, a kidney stabbed.
Yeah, it's not like there's no hit points. I mean, you get stabbed, you're in big trouble.
If we want to argue about what to do next, we roll a whole bunch of dice and someone's brain gets stabbed metaphorically. There is social conflict. I script a point, then a rebuttal, then an ugly truth in sight dismiss or something. He scripts a rebuttal, another rebuttal, and then a point. And we play that out.
And when you win the argument, right, you have to, usually someone gets their way, or no one gets their way, or there's a compromise. There's going to be something. So when you're doing that, let's go to the left cave, let's go to the right cave, you bring out the duel of wits, you have the duel of wits, and there will be an answer, and you have to abide it. You can't just say, no, I'm not going to, or you can escalate to violence.
So you set stakes ahead of time. So, two players, or maybe a player and an NPC, or a group of NPCs, for example, arguing against the king in court, agree on the stakes. The players are like, all right, if we win, king, you will execute your uncle because he is a traitor to the crown. And the king says, if I win, I'm having all of you executed for even daring to come into my court.
And the thing is, you might end up one way or the other. You might end up no one gets what they want if there's a tie, which means that no one gets executed. Or you might end up sort of in this compromise. Okay, well, I'll put my uncle in jail and kill half of you.
Or I'll let you go, but I'm keeping all of your families hostage and you have 1 week to find evidence.
Yeah, something like that. It forces you to go a new direction. All right.